Hi guys, it's SkintBoot here, and today what I'm going to be bringing you guys is a No Man's Sky video. And in today's video, what I am pretty excited to look into is the newly confirmed major updates for 2019 and what they could mean for No Man's Sky. As always, all of what is stated in this video is of course speculation, but with some added rationale. So please don't take any of what is said to be fact or 100% confirmed. But anyway, with all of that said and done, please do sit back and relax. Let's get started. Okay, so all of this juicy speculation comes from the recent update to No Man's Sky, the development update 10, I believe it's called, which added the brand new community event, some base building parts, and more Quicksilver rewards. I haven't done a video on this update since I wasn't able to get it out day of release, and people will go, "Oh, you're so late. Why are you so late, Daniel? You're so fucking late." So I'm just not gonna do it. This video should hopefully make up for it. But the official article on Hello Games' website contains this really small paragraph right at the end in typical Hello Games fashion, which basically reveals that a large portion of the team at Hello Games are working on major updates. Yes, updates, not update. For the new year. The paragraph reads the following. Thanks for reading all of these updates. We hope you've been enjoying the increased communication and update frequency over the past 6 months. There is still so much more to come in the new year, with a large portion of our team working towards further major updates for No Man's Sky. We look forward to seeing you out there. Thank you so much. Sean. So that is the information which we are going off here. Now, there isn't a great deal, as always. However, what we can take from this is that we now have 100% confirmation that No Man's Sky is by no means at the end of its update life cycle. I saw some people on my recent last campfire video talking about how this is the beginning of the end for No Man's Sky because they're working on a new game, but this just isn't the case. I mean, for a start, it's only 2 developers, so it's not the whole of Hello Games, and 2, No Man's Sky is their main project. But those worries have been completely shattered on, so if you're worrying about that, then please stop worrying because this news of the 2019 updates basically just confirms No Man's Sky will live another year. So stop worrying and get excited instead. So I think it's about time to delve into what these major updates, as in more than fucking one, could introduce. And right off the bat, I want to say that 2019 is going to be a damn good year for No Man's Sky. The game will be going on 3 years old next summer, and in terms of the progress which we have seen in just 2 years, next year the game is going to be so incredibly different, and that excites me an absolute shit ton. But what I think it is safe to assume is that Hello Games' 2019 updates are going to be heavily community focused. There is no doubt about that. Recent updates like the Abyss update and Visions focused on 2 huge areas of the game that the community were very vocal about: underwater and colour variety. It's clear that Hello Games listen, and it's clear that they actually give a shit, so it's extremely likely that 2019 will deliver updates which the community have been talking about for a long time. But before we get into the boundless speculation with no restraints, let's keep it realistic for just one moment. You remember way back when Hello Games released that survey on what areas of No Man's Sky would we like to see improve for the future? Well, that useful little bastard is going to come back for this video. If we take a glance at this survey from all those months ago now, we can see that 2 of the options have actually been fulfilled. Enhancements to underwater exploration was the Abyss update, and stranger and more varied planets was Visions. These 2 options must have been voted as the 2 most popular, since we have seen them in the 2 most recent updates. But this survey gives us more, because we're not yet to see VR support, more depth to NPCs, more depth to base building, replace orbs with player models, and so on. We have only checked off 2 features from the list, and they can be argued to be the biggest features out of all of them. So for now, if we use this survey as a general bit of direction, where is 2019 likely going to take No Man's Sky? Well, my view is this. No Man's Sky currently has substantial content that's 1,000 times more varied and interesting than 1.0. There is now a game in the game, and that's That sounds stupid. And that's proven very popular with fans and critics and people that didn't like the game at its launch. But when it comes down to the infamous multiplayer debate, the argument that multiplayer is the only thing No Man's Sky needs, I just don't think multiplayer will be a focus for a long time. And this ties into what I just said. Because at the end of the day, multiplayer doesn't add content. It only makes the existing content feel a little bit different and a little bit more exciting. Although you are exploring with a mate and you can encounter other people, you're still doing what you always do. You know, base building, the main story, fucking around with animals and so on. Multiplayer doesn't change the content of No Man's Sky, although it probably should somewhere down the line. I view multiplayer as a bonus. It's the icing on top of a damn fine cake that makes the sponge taste even better. But without a good cake, you're essentially putting icing on shit, like a physical piece of shit. And that is why No Man's Sky and Hello Games should focus on the content itself before improving multiplayer. I'm not saying that the content itself is shit, but I'm saying you need to have a solid foundation, otherwise putting nice little sprinkles of extra content on top of a, you know, fairly average or below average base just doesn't make sense. Multiplayer is essentially the final slap on the arse cheek that gets you all riled up, and that is why it needs to be done nearer the end of the update lifecycle. So what I'm trying to get at here is that multiplayer will likely not be fully overhauled or fundamentally changed until everything else has been done on this survey, or until the community is more than happy with the gameplay itself. Doing things like replacing orbs is about the only thing I would actually agree with at this point in time, but an actual overhaul of multiplayer where everything as we know changes and we get all these crazy additions and PvP and shit like that, that would be a feature that comes at the end of 2019, not the beginning. Instead, I strongly believe that the cores of No Man's Sky will be updated in the new year, specifically flora, physics, and the ending. Flora is a simple one. We simply need more procedural generation for everything. That goes for animals, terrain, NPCs, ships, anything like that, but plants especially. Hello Games can fix this fairly easily without even touching the algorithm by not restricting what can generate on what planets. If you take Rayrod's overhaul mod for example, we can have palm trees on snowy planets or big fucking bushes on scorched planets. On our world it doesn't make sense, but on an alien planet it might just well fit in. Next up is physics. By this, I'm referring to the big daddy of all features, and that is, of course, planetary rotation. And yes, we know how famous this feature was, and yes, playtesters didn't enjoy it, it was too hard, blah blah blah, but maybe give us an option to enable it and disable it for those who don't enjoy it, then that pleases both sides of the community. Maybe even have planetary rotation as an exclusive feature for, say, permadeath or survival, to make the game mode even more challenging, and that way normal and creative stays as it were. Either way, No Man's Sky, and specifically space, the universe, the planets and the physics just needs to feel more alive, you know, less static and perfect like it's just been fucking slapped there from a Unity engine with a load of free models and shit like that. I want to feel like space is moving and it isn't just glued into place. And on top of this, please for the love of God, give us planets with a climate based on the position of the sun. I have always wanted this feature since day one because it makes so much sense. It also allows biomes to be more varied, as it won't always be a freezing desolate wasteland. It might only have light snow or completely fucking blizzard. This sun-based climate would be great for variety and realism alike. Finally, the ending. Boys, I won't lie to you, the ending doesn't bother me anymore, but it should bother me. And it should probably bother you too. Hello Games really needs to change the ending. There is nothing else that can be said. In my opinion, the center of the galaxy should be one huge city planet, an end game as such, where you can build freely, you can meet other explorers, and you look back at your journey. It could almost act like a heaven of some sorts, an afterlife. a place outside of existence that gives people a genuine reason to want to go there, because as it stands currently, I couldn't give less of a shit about the center, but I should, and that is the issue. We're not asking for some, fully animated film of violins playing and vicious Michael Bay bass when we hit the center, but just a reason to go there, a bit of a push and a bit of motivation instead of just achievements or saying I've been to the center of the galaxy. Have the center be a playground, a creative mode as such, where everyone can just fuck around. It's a place of bliss, place where you can reflect on the journey that took you to this place, and that would make the most amount of sense. But honestly guys, I could talk about this for absolutely ages. However, I'm going to try and keep this video fairly short, so I think for today's video that is just about all I want to say on the matter. I do want to make a load more videos looking at the future. As I said on Twitter, I'm trying to get a backlog as I'm off to Amsterdam in 2 days, or 1 day probably, as of this video being uploaded. So I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff, so please do stay tuned. But guys, I just want to say thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then please do feel free to leave a like on it, and if you guys could also subscribe to MZK, then that'd be absolutely fantastic. And as always, I will see you guys on my next video. This is SkintBoot, signing out.